All right, welcome to another video from the Chart Readers. Hey, if you haven't already, check out the website, chartreaders.com. You'll see all the videos actually in a little bit cleaner of a format. And then if you scroll to the bottom, you can sign up for my weekly email. I send a little more detail than I do on the videos, and then just a good little recap of the NASDAQ, S&P, and the Dow Jones. So for this video, what are we going to do? We are going to look at energy and oil. So we have 8 tickers, and just like always, we're going to do the same things, right? We're going to look at the daily chart and the weekly chart. We're going to use our moving average lines, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then we'll wind it down using these 2 lower indicators, the MACD and the RSI. Again, if you're new to the videos, I do like the RSI more than the MACD, but again, I use these as double confirmation. But 80% of the work is up here. This is the little, 20% at the end, cherry on the cake, right? So energy is, oil, generally I like to start with the big one. OXY is that, really because of Warren Buffett and all that stuff. But man, this is a pretty ugly chart, right? There was a very, very nice run in the beginning of August, right? We clearly broke this cluster right here. I talk about clusters a lot, right? You can see a bunch of moving average lines and then one of my own drawn. But once we broke it, we pretty much rode the 8 all the way up, and then boom. Right here, we clearly lose the 8 moving average, and then we've been trading under it for really most of, if not all of September, right? It looked a little bullish on the last 2 days, right? So you'll see on the 19th, we made a really good run. And then on the 20th, we at least held the 100. The problem was, look, we never got over this 50 line, and it was almost to the penny on my 64. You can almost call it the $65 line, right? So I'm a little biased. I think my horizontal lines are really good. I've been doing this for a few years, and I trust them. This obviously isn't financial advice or anything, right? But I know if you're not going to break a cluster, which is essentially a moving average line, combined with one of my lines, or here in this case, a couple of them, I need that confirmation. And unfortunately, we never got it, and we got such a hard rejection. Really, at this point, we are under just about everything, and it seems like we're coming down to our next support at 61.50 roughly, right? So, and really, that's kind of the last savior before we even get out of the 60s, right? So it's crazy. Generally, in a bad market, these kind of stocks do well, right? Commodities do well. Oil is a commodity. There's the war going on with Russia and Ukraine. I'm sincerely surprised that it's not doing as well. But I want to stress how easy it is to see when to buy and when to sell, right? Break the cluster. This isn't great. This is the first great one, right? It couldn't hold it, but once we got over this day, it just flew and held, right? And then again, once we lose the 8, you just get out the door, right? So we're waiting for even this day right here. It looked like it broke the 8, but there was no confirmation. I don't care if you do something once. I need you to do it a few. I want to ride a multi-day up versus just guessing these 1 or 2s, right? So that's the game we play on these videos. Just coming down here again on the daily, it's not looking good, right? Red over green. I see red over green. Red is bad, green is good, right? Just like a traffic light. So I intentionally make these easy, right? Coming to the weekly, just taking a little bit of a longer view. Look, 1, 2, 3 weeks under the 8. Definitely now 1 strong week under the 20. This isn't looking good on the weekly. And if it's not looking good on the weekly, that means you're going to get a bunch of bad days, right? So I hope a couple of the oil stocks look different than this, right? But this might be a common theme as we go through the rest of these oil energies. So INDO actually looking really ugly on this daily, right? So look at all the days trading under the 8. This was actually the last day it was, this was the last day over the 8, right? So what day was this? Basically the end of August. So since the 29th, we were under. Look at all these days close under. This one started up but closed under. Started up, closed under. Came close but closed under. People, rule number 1, trade when you're over the 8. When you're under the 8, honestly, you just kind of stay away because you're going to see this. It's going to ride it down, right? That is really why I love the 8 so much. Again, what's happened? Look, today we've basically lost on one of my support lines. We actually lost it yesterday, and today was an extra little confirmation, right? So at this point, I really see us losing $6 and heading down to 580. Sorry to zoom out. I really hate zooming out so much. But yeah, after 580, I mean, it's a hard drop down to 5. So be careful here. Be careful here. Now, trust me, I realize that I see green over red here. But look, I see red over green, and they're not saying the same thing. And like I said at the beginning of the video, 80% of the info is here. And if we're trading this many days under the 8, I really don't care what these are saying, right? I mean, you know, this is trading over, and I see green over red. Again, makes me care a lot more. If I'm here, I really, and look, you barely see any of it, right? But this means nothing to me. It really does, right? So, yeah, let's look at the weekly really quickly. Again, same thing like we saw with OXY. 2 days under this 8. We're actually, 2 weeks under the 8. And, yeah, we've pretty much... this cluster hurt us. Again, same things I say on the daily apply to the weekly, right? Apply to the monthly, apply to the hourly and the minute, right? But it's hard to break clusters. We tried to in this first week of September, but clearly we just been on the drop down. So INDO actually looking a lot worse than OXY as well. Man, CEI, I remember being at all-time lows, and again, there's very little reason to believe that it's not going to... And I feel like a lot of people thought I was just really bashing this stock, right? But I'm not. All I'm talking about is the same thing across any stock, right? If you're under the 8, you're just going to keep trading under the 8. These aren't rules I made up, right? I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, let's use this 8. You know, I actually paid someone to learn some stuff. I did a little research myself, and yeah, I believe in this 8 line a lot, right? So you can also, I hope, see why. You look, this clearly was a monster day, but there was no confirmation, right? And again, from there, it just, oh man, especially after this right here. And it kind of seems like a common theme, right? That 28th, 29th of August. But once we lost the 8 and just really lost it, it just kept getting worse and worse. The very worst part of this, and again, sorry to zoom out so much, we're at all-time lows, right? I mean, this thing used to be way up here. We're literally, we've never been this low. And when we haven't been this low, there's no support lines for me to make because there's no support. We've never been down here. So I'm not even going to look at the weekly. You do not want your money under the 8, let alone in all-time lows, right? Just, oh my goodness. And I hope you've been watching these videos because I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks from what I remember. So IMPP, again, just look at this, right? I hope you see it before I say it. On the daily, once you lose the 8, you should not be trading this. Because again, once you lose it, a number of days after is going to trade under the 8, right? Just ugly. It's sad. Again, this I'm sure faked out a lot of people, right? One monster day, a second monster day seeming like confirmation. But look, we couldn't get over this 50. So you have to add one more confirmation for this 50, right? Again, all the moving averages are up here. And just a hard fail. And again, a second kind of run with a good 2-day, but a fail on one of my lines, right? A nice day, but a fail on the, like, it's a matter of consistency and confirmation. But at this point, all we've really confirmed is we've lost the 8 and we're going to keep losing the 8. And these are very bad. Not only do I see red over, but it looks like the green wants to keep going down. It wants to keep going down, right? So, man, that's a scary daily. And again, this weekly, once we lost that 35-cent line, it just ripped. And I realize it only looks like 4 cents, right? It actually is 4 cents. That's what math is. But that's definitely more than 10%, right? It's bad. It's just, and look, again, all-time lows. I promise you, you don't want to buy something and say, can it get lower? And look, I get that this seems like it wants to come up, but again, red is over green. I don't even care that this green is over red because, again, 80% of it is here, and 4 weeks under the green line, a loss of a support line, just, oh man, no bueno, no bueno. Let's get out of this and come into uranium. Let's see if this does any better. Dang, it really doesn't. So what happened, right? Look, we were actually riding pretty well over the 8. I do remember watching this ticker a little bit. There was a bit of a shake here. It tried to keep itself, and really even these days, though they were red candles, it was over the 8, right? Once we lost the 8, we tried to hold the 20, couldn't hold the 20, and just really made our way down, right? So the lines are good to break up and to watch kind of the drop down, right? They give you your natural resistance and supports outside of my manual ones, right? But where are we now? Look, it shouldn't be much of a surprise, right? A number of days under the 8, a number of days just losing lines, trying to make up here, right? A little bit, but not enough. And look, again, it all starts with get over the 8, right? Even these 2 days looking good, still a mile away from getting over the 8 line, right? So, man, this is not looking very good across this actually either. I'm not going to look at, I'll look at the weekly real quick. Why not? Yeah, look, hard rejection last week, and this week we're pretty much confirming a loss of the other lines, right? So 2 weeks under the 8, and now it's looking like a week under the other one. So yeah, in all honesty, I can see this coming down to 334. I could see this being a much more realistic, 340 being a little more stronger of a resistance. So damn, this one could look a little rough too. Really, there hasn't been a single bullish one across these, right? And again, I'm talking short term. If any of these are good long-term holds, hey, that more power to you, right? But look at this, just the last time we were anywhere near the 8, but look, we were still this, oh man, let me just zoom out a lot. Look, again, this is why I love these lines. We definitely make a real nice break, and look, you see there's a rejection on this. What line is this? That's the 50 as well as I love it when they just like line up so well, right? It kind of gives me a little reassurance. But made a good run over the 8, definitely a hard rejection. Makes a nice little run, again, a second rejection on the 50, and then I love that break, right? 1 test, 2 tests, 3 test break. Can't go wrong with that. This entire time, we're also above the 8, right? So it gives me a little bit of just reassurance, right? But again, just all these days over the 8, boom. We've now lost the 8 and all these days under the 8, right? So again, just stressing the chart more than anything because look, it's an ugly ticker. It really is. And again, no hating on any of these. It's just I'm looking at short term, and yeah, short term looks bad. Again, same exact thing, right? Over the 8, over the 8, over the 8, over the 8, lose the 8, lose the 8. Little bit of a run, couldn't get over this one though. Come back down, right? So again, use these moving averages never change, right? I sincerely hope you've added these to your screen. Look, you're more than welcome to just copy my lines. Otherwise, kind of go back and see what I did to make them. But all this stuff, I really hope you guys are replicating, right? This is not financial advice, but technical analysis is really good stuff. Man, I'm not gonna lie, this one's been making me sad. It's a really important day tomorrow, I'll tell you that. We're basically sitting right on the 8 and the 100. Hopefully we get a bounce up. But look, it's been going with the line, made a real nice break. Couldn't get over my line right here and just kind of floundered really the last couple days. But look, if we can get over 136, I really see us coming up to 150, and then 150 is really the magic number to break. Once we can break this 200, oh man, good things can happen here. But again, just kind of watching it, right? Let the lines tell you what to do. Again, these are all short-term views. I'm still liking this weekly. Again, it's still a little early in the week, but look, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks over the 8. And look, I know it's red, but we're still actually 1-2 weeks over this 20, right? So ideally we stay over the 20 in the next couple days and again, maybe bounce up. But if not, look, you hit the eject button, right? If we lose the 8, prepare to come down to 1 and maybe even 94, 95 to this red line, right? So take emotion out and use the lines. I promise you it'll do well. Trade safely. Have a good one.